We're back, Kenya. NJCA Hot Hoops, Kenya Landers and Dan Olson. Welcome back to the show, everyone of the JUCO faithful that are out there.
Yeah.
And we want to keep it rolling. And boy, Kenya, we're closing in. We're into playoffs now. Um, it's an exciting time of the year for everybody, and we're excited for them. And we've again had another change at the top of the poll from the past week. It's been kind of a up and down last few weeks with people
Yeah.
getting knocked off, and I think we've had three maybe changes in the top spot. So,
Yeah.
and our old friends at Northwest Florida State are back in the driver's seat at number one, and
Yep.
um, you want to go over through the top 20 if you don't mind, top 25 for that matter.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
will. And back to what you said about our JUCO faithfuls, I have ran into four people randomly that watch the show every week. I had
Awesome.
no idea who I was just like meeting them. We kind of get to talk and they're like, oh, yeah, we love that show. And so it's just so funny. We have people all over. Some
Good.
people have nothing to do with junior college women's basketball, but they like to just hear about it. Um,
We're getting them hooked.
someone, someone, um, someone described us as sugar and spice. I don't know who's who, but I said, yeah, you guys work
Yeah,
good together.
you're
You're like
both.
sugar
You're
and
sugar and
spice.
spice. I'm just here for the ride, you know?
Oh, but I thought that was so funny. And I
Yeah.
always tell people how much fun this is and how it's so fun just to get to talk hoops and I get to hang out with my longtime friends. So
Likewise.
not to start talking about that too much. I'll get, kind of emotional. But listen, top 25. We
Yeah,
have had a lot of shifting, but that top five has kind of held strong though, right?
they have.
Um, yeah, so this week, Northwest Florida State, um, they were three last week. Now they're in the top spot. Three
Mhm.
Rivers remaining at two. Northwest Junior College, they were four last week, moved up to three.
Yep.
Chipola
Yep.
College, they were
Yep.
sitting in the top spot last week and dropped down to four. And
Yep.
then Wabash Valley, they were five last week, so they stayed in their spot. Um, so 6 and 7, Shelton and Dodge, they maintained their same spot
Mhm.
from last week. Um, and then we have South Plains and Hutch at 8 and 9. McLennan still holding on in the top 10. They were eight last week.
Yeah, I think South Plains might have moved up a spot. I think.
South Plains, yes,
Yeah.
they actually they did move up a spot. They were nine last week, and they moved up a spot. We have Arizona Western, who also moved up a spot. Florida Southwestern jumped up one. And then
Mhm.
we have Gulf Coast State College at 13, who dropped a few spots. They were 10 last week.
Mhm.
Pearl River at 14, Trinity Valley at 15, Eastern Arizona College at 16, Odessa at 17, and they all held their same spots from last week. Now, Murray State is in at 18 and Western Nebraska at 19. And they were 19 and 20 last week. So we're all kind of staying pretty comparable.
Yep.
Colleyville coming in at 20. They dropped a couple of spots from last week. Casper is at 21, maintained their spot from last week. Walter State, Grayson College, Cochise, and then Butler, they round out our Final Four spots. So it's just, we don't have any newbies that are in there. We have some teams that are receiving votes in Southern Idaho, Eastern Florida State, and Collin County. But everybody's working really hard to kind of maintain those positions. So we're
Yeah.
about to be coming up where we're going to receive our final poll soon
Mhm.
here as the regional tournaments are happening. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Butler at 25.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have Mike Helmer on
Yeah,
today on our
yeah,
hot seat spot.
yeah.
And yeah, they're 25 this week. He's had a good season so far,
Yeah,
and he'll keep it rolling. So, what about the
absolutely.
Division Two top 20?
Yeah,
Top 10?
D2, Kirkwood, Johnson County, and CCBC Essex are all 1, 2, and 3. Lincoln Land, Mesa, and Union 4, 5, and 6. Lakeland, Pima, Illinois Central, and Allen are rounding us out with 7 through 10. So they're staying pretty consistent with what they have going on.
Yeah. What's amazing is the two teams that played in the national finals last year.
Yeah,
They're right there,
I
and
know.
they're both undefeated. Um,
I know.
that's going to be an exciting Division Two tournament.
Yeah,
And yeah, don't forget, ESPN Plus will be doing all the streaming of the
that's
Division One
right.
tournament,
That's right.
and you and I will be there too toward the end.
We will. We'll be
We're
covering the
excited
Final
about it.
Four. That's going to be
Yeah,
so fun.
yeah, it's going to be great, and we'll see some good basketball and see some really outstanding players do their thing. So
Absolutely.
certainly a critical time for people that are on the bubble, and it leads to our misery index, of course, like who's gotten hot at the end, who's fizzled out a little bit, who's
Yeah.
our hot shots.
Listen, all of these teams here have gone. Three Rivers went 3-0. Everybody else has gone 2-0 for the week. So we have Northwest Florida, Three Rivers, Northwest Florida State, Wabash, Shelton State, Arizona Western, Hutch, Butler, Grayson, and Southwest Mississippi all went undefeated this week.
Yeah,
And I know I say this all the time, but these people are playing in tough leagues, and this is hard to do,
yeah,
especially this time of the year. Now we
but
have
they're
some,
peaking. They're peaking.
yeah, they're peaking at the right time,
Correct.
100%.
Yeah,
And then we have some people that were not so hot this week. Gulf Coast State went 0-2. Eastern Florida went 0-1. Blinn went 1-1. Seward went 0-2, and Mississippi Delta went 0-2.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's you
we
got to
kind of
right
need
the
to have
ship.
a who's high, who's maintaining, and who's not. Because 1-1 at this time of the year might be okay.
Yeah, yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah,
And Blinn's a solid team. Blinn was a national tournament team last year,
yeah,
as
yeah,
was
for
Eastern
sure.
Florida. So, um, yeah, got to right the ship, get it right, and they
Yeah,
don't have a lot of time to do it.
find it
So,
out.
but it all depends on who's seated where and how it all falls into place. That's
Matchups.
very
Mm-hmm.
important, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a break from hot hoops. We'll be back in a minute. Let's talk rewind when we come back.
Yeah.
NJCA hot hoops.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
We're back with our rewind segment on hot hoops, Kenya. We've got a number of games that we talked about last week, and
Yes.
they were certainly had some others too that we added to it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's McLennan. McLennan and Colin last year, it was a battle because Colin was really good last year. Like
Mm-hmm.
they were among the top five, and it seemed as if McLennan was always in their way. All right.
Mm-hmm.
McCollum got him 72-58. Colin's 20-8 right now.
Yeah.
So McLennan number 10 in the week's poll. Kind of a back and forth game. But Colin kind of jumped up, had an 11-point lead going into the fourth quarter, and they just couldn't get any closer, McLennan, than that.
Mm-hmm.
So Alicia Nunley, their point guard at Colin, had a nice game, 25 and 7 boards from the point guard position. And so Colin's on a win streak right now. I think they've got 4 wins in a row. with
Yeah.
2 games to go. And they got an easy game against Cisco. They should run them pretty good. And
Hmm.
then they're probably challenged a little bit at Grayson, but they're home games. So Colin's good at home, well coached. They're moving in the right direction. You
Yeah.
know, Charnel Hoof had 10 for McLennan. So McLennan's hosting that Region 5 tournament, and that'll be a fun few
Hmm.
days down there with good basketball. So,
Yeah.
um, switching over to the Panhandle, the dogfight of the Panhandle.
Yeah.
Number one Northwest beats Gulf Coast 71-60. Um, Makia Chase had 20 for the Raiders. That's part of their 1-2 backcourt. A player that's kind of come on for them late, Kyla McBride, kind of a
Yeah.
bouncy wing player. She had she had 12 points in the fourth quarter to kind of boost them ahead in this game. Had 17 altogether. Northwest has won 7 games this year so far versus ranked opponents, which is pretty good. And Bart Walker's got them cooking, and they're hosting at the region tournament in Florida too, which doesn't hurt.
Right.
And so points off of turnovers, fast breaks, bench points. That was kind of the thing there to get Northwest in that win. As for Gulf Coast, they had 4 players in double figures in this game. Clara Koulibaly, who's a 6'2", kind of a 4'5" sophomore, had 19. And Genevia Gage, who's one of the nation's leading rebounders, we've talked about her before, had 10 and 18 rebounds in this game. So all this could get all mumbo jumboed in another week.
Oh, no doubt. I would expect nothing less.
Yeah. Let's go to the Valley. They beat unranked Tyler 77-60. The Valley's 23-4 right now.
Yeah.
And their transfer from George Washington U, Monica Marsh, had 16 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds in that win. And her backcourt teammate, Jana Salton, this is a North Carolina product.
Hmm.
She added 14 points. We haven't talked much about her, but they've got a bunch of these guards at Trinity Valley that one day they show up and the other day they don't. But collectively, if they show up, people got a problem.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So Southern Idaho, always playing this snow team out there, is always kind of in the thick of things with people with Salt Lake and
Yeah.
so they got by Southern Idaho won at 81-68. So Southern Idaho's kind of had an up and down year to a certain extent, but they're still 22-7. You know? And so I think they may be peaking at the right time. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Let's go to the Jayhawk. So number 7 Dodge had to play Coffeyville. This is 2 teams with 20 plus wins. Dodge beat them 74-50 convincingly.
Yeah.
And, the Aussie that Dodge has, Shorna Preston, had 27 rebounds and 5 assists as a 4-player. Not a bad outing, They attempted 44 threes, Dodge did. So combined, both teams made 21 threes in this game. So you talk about it was lights up, go,
Shooting a three is, I mean, it's a big part of like women's basketball and basketball in general. But I feel like the Kansas Jayhawk League, like they let it fly with no hesitation. Like I feel like that's just always been a consistent characteristics of the Kansas teams. Like they let the ball go.
Well, they were doing it that night.
Yeah.
Let's switch over to the D2 side.
Yeah.
Union, New Jersey, in their playoff. Now, Union's ranked in the top, 5 or 6, I think. Number 6.
6, yeah.
They barely got by Harcum, who was 14. 61-60 to keep their season rolling. That would have been an upset because I could see them really advancing far in the national tournament. Destiny Bynum Johnson had 19, 8 rebounds for Union, and they got a nice team. So this will be an interesting advance here as we move on in the days ahead and how they do. So number 8, Pima gets by Scottsdale. Pima's won 7 straight, by the way, 24-5. They have got a transfer post freshman, Kylie Sowers Miller. Been hurt a little bit during the early part of the season. A transfer in from, I want to say, Division One in California. Off the top of my head, I can't remember who exactly. Had a monster game, 34, 14 rebounds in the win.
Yeah,
She's got value. She's a true 5.
no doubt.
So now they're going to start their region play on Thursday. So we'll see how that shakes out in that Division II region of Arizona. So let's move up north a little bit to Casper. We had Dwight Ganner on our show a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
They're number 21 this week, 24-6 record. His kids know it because he told them they're watching it. Let's hope they're watching Hot Hoops, right?
yeah,
They won 80-66 over Eastern Wyoming. And their star guard, Andy Schisler, who's going to North Texas, kind of a nice 5'10" guard that can stroke it, had 27, 4 threes in the win. And so that concludes their regular season. So now they're into region play. So here's the kind of the big game of the week. Northwest Florida State had to go to number 1 Chipola the other day, and this is where it got interesting.
yeah.
Northwest beat them 80-69. So Chipola falls to number 4. Northwest moves up to number 1. Chipola's 26-3 now. But you know, the Raiders kind of jumped on them quick.
Yeah.
It was like a 13-point first quarter lead for them. And Nevaeh Scott, she had 18 points. That's the other part of their dynamic duo backcourt of Chase and Scott. And then Deborah Davenport, who we've talked about quite a bit beforehand, probably the best rim runner 4 in the country in JUCO. She had 12 and 5. So for Chipola, their first home loss of the year.
Which blows my mind. Which
Yeah.
they only have 3 losses for the year.
Right.
But to play the people that they have been playing and be able to protect their home court until this, that's big time.
Impressive.
And it talks about they get a good crowd. They get a good crowd. They pack it in there, and they definitely, they create that home court advantage for sure.
Yeah. Kanaja Daniel, who we talked about many a night in the show, and freshman Denia McDonald, they're kind of synonymous in their abilities and size, position. Both had 20 each in the loss. They both scored 20 and they get beat, you know. So there were some good games.
Yeah.
Guess what? There's going to be more good games next week.
Yeah.
And when we come back from our break, we're going to talk about Upload and what we're going to expect for this next week on NJCA Hot Hoops. We're back with NJCA Hot Hoops. Let's talk about our upload section of the show, Kenya, and the games that we're going to expect to see. And there could be some really good ones here because it's important for getting wins right now. So
that's right.
We got some region games going on. Essex is going to be playing somewhere in their region game. Pima and Mesa, both in the top 10 in their region. You know, they could see each other again, of course, in Missouri.
Yeah.
We've got unranked Temple playing at McLennan. And then McLennan hosts that Region 5 tournament, which is going to really be a dogfight to get out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that'll be fun. Um, Cowley County's going to go to Butler and play, and that's going to be the last regular season game for, I believe, both of them. So um, unranked Cowley County could really cause problems for a lot of people because they do shoot it quite a bit. And
Yes. Just a little bit.
yeah, and maybe one of the best games of the this week ahead. Got number 7 Dodge at number 9 Hutch, and those two teams are way up in the poll for
Mm-hmm.
the most part. And Dodge is leading, it's number 7 against 9. But man, you're playing at Hutch.
Yeah.
That's a tough win, man. If to walk out of there with a win. So, and if I know Hutch's team over the years, they're priming themselves. They're
No
paying
doubt.
attention to the detail. Um, we've got March 6th as the date for starting Region 23 down in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And so that'll be the higher seed that'll host. And then let's not forget our Arizona friends. Number 24 Cochise is at number 16 Eastern Arizona.
Yeah.
2 ranked teams. They go at it again for the 3rd time in the year. And I'll tell you what, whoever makes it out of that Arizona region is going to be proven because they're battle tested.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. It's
Yeah.
just a great time of the year.
Such a great time for the
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. Kenya, when we come back, we're going to have Mike Helmer, head coach at Butler Community College in Kansas. He's
Yeah.
on our hot seat today, and he's going to tell us all about the Grizzlies. And they're 22-6 right now, and we're looking forward to hearing from Mike on Hot Hoops.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
We are back, Kenya, with NJCAA Hot Hoops. And Mike Helmer, you're on the hot seat, man. Head coach at Butler Community College in Kansas. Man, you're in the mess right now. You're 22-6. Who knows what's going to happen, how it's going to shake out. But we are delighted to have you here on Hot Hoops.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to get to hang out with you guys a little bit today and get into some hoop talk.
Yeah.
All right, Kenya, take it.
I mean, first of all, great job thus far this season.
Thank
I
you.
mean, you guys, you're in a hell of a league. You have a very young team, and you're sitting at, I think, 22-6. I mean, I'm jumping up and down right now if I'm 22-6 in your league with a lot of inexperienced players. So number one, hats off to you for your leadership and the way that you're coaching them and how you guys are getting things done. But it just talks about the competitiveness of NJCAA women's basketball right now, right? I mean, from top to bottom, it's literally anybody's ball game any night. Like, I am excited about entering into the playoffs and all that. I won't jump too far ahead though, but talk about your squad. Talk about how you've grown these girls up, these young ladies, grown them up really fast, and who's doing what and what you're excited about. Just talk about your crew.
It's been an experience. Last year we had an all sophomore team for the most part. Had a great year last year. Lost in the region championship by 2. And then, of course, we replaced everybody this year with brand new. We've got 3. We're having sophomore night tonight. We have 3 people, sophomores. One is a returner, Alba, played for me last year, but the other 2 are transfers. And so, but my top 6 players, minutes played, stats, starting, all those things are all freshmen. So beginning of the year, it's been a little rough. People, I forgot I was spoiled last year with the all sophomores, but You
Yeah.
know, the freshmen, you got to teach them how to get on the bus. You got to teach them how to travel.
Don't
You
forget your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely,
Speakers.
absolutely. And so, as the year's gone on, it's, I think we're really gelling together. We've won, I want to say it's 10 of our last 12, 8 of our last 10, somewhere in there. And I think they're starting to understand things, or they're picking up the game a little bit better as far
Yeah.
as it's not so fast. They're understanding how everything works, and it's been a great year. It's been a great year.
Yeah.
We'd like to have a couple games back, but that is what it is. And 22-6 in this league, and again, having all new team, I'm proud of them.
Yeah. I mean, because, you've been doing this long enough, 17th season that, and being a Kansas guy and being in the league for so long and just understanding the Kansas Jayhawk conference and just really understanding just how it works. Every season, you don't judge your season off of, how many games you win and how many games you lose. As far as your complete package, you talk about, where our growth, where have we started, where have we moved to, right?
Right.
So just your experience in the Jayhawk conference, that's got to be a big help for you, because I feel like, after you do it for so long, you kind of know what's coming, this is going to happen. So talk to us just a little bit how your experience there has just helped your young team kind of being able to skip some steps.
Yeah, it's funny because one of the things we've talked about is, developing leadership with an all freshman team. I feel like myself and my 3 assistant coaches have had to be more of leaders this year in understanding how the league works, understanding, night in and night out, this thing's a monster just based on numbers alone. I mean, we got what, 13, 14 teams in our league. We only get 6 non-conference games. The rest of it, you're in conference. You're just, you're going at it with majority of the people, the top 6, 7 teams in the league could all, make a run here. And, it's one of those deals where you got to be a leader and teach these kids, hey, going on the road is going to be like this, playing this team is going to be like this. I know I'm biased from being 17 years, but I think we got some of the best coaches in the nation in this league. I think we've got some great talent. We've got some great atmospheres that you got to play in. The venues in this state are great. And it's just, trying to teach the kids one game at a time. And it's funny because with being on with you guys today, we had some sophomores in, some freshmen in, they were talking about next year. And I was talking about, next year I shouldn't have to say much of anything. It should be your show to run. So, we're trying to use our experience as coaches to help them, just get ready. The biggest thing is and this is any level, no nights off. Cali coming in tonight is one of the top teams in the nation in 3-point shooting. You let them get going, and all of a sudden you're in trouble. When we played them the first time, they shot 48 threes against us, and that is a volume amount of threes. And
Wow.
let them get going. They're going to hit some because of how many they shoot. You just can't let them go 20 of 48. And so it's those type of deals of understanding what each program brings, and just trying to lock in each given night and realizing hey, this isn't a cupcake night. This isn't we're not playing a JV team. It's a dog.
There's no such thing.
No.
Mike, you're a fabric, as we say, of JUCO basketball. I mean, you played at Pratt,
Mm-hmm.
a Kansas guy all through and through. And you hit it right on the head. I mean, your league itself is such a dogfight. Like it's a fun time of the year. I mean, you reflect back on this stuff. I mean, look where we are right now. A month from now, we're done.
Yeah.
Everybody's done in a month,
Yeah.
So we got a load of basketball that's going to be really exciting these next 4 weeks. And you're right in it, man. I mean, um, you know, Cowley's a scrappy bunch now,
Yeah.
and but every game that you play, boy, these girls that you got, they got to value that opportunity every time they step on the floor. There's no cupcakes, and because you could all get knocked off, and look at the top of your league. I mean, you may be you're in fourth right now, I
Yeah,
believe,
fourth.
but there's not a whole lot of difference going on there between 1 and 4, or
That's
even
right.
5 and 6.
Yeah. Yeah. You look at, there's a chance. Obviously, with us getting fourth, we got the bye. We'll play the win. We'll most likely play either Cali or Seward again on Tuesday. And, both of those guys
Yeah.
Seward beat us at their place. And,
Yeah.
Cali beat Hutch, who's, I think, number 8 or whatever. Seward beat Dodge, who's number 5. And so it's, to be honest with you, Dan, and you'll remember this, my first couple of years, we had those, back then our league was the East and West.
Right.
Mhm.
I miss that a little bit, to be honest with you. I miss being able to travel and playing some other teams from Texas or Oklahoma or, Missouri, whatever. Having the 6 non-conference games kind of limits you a little bit. And then I feel like, it's just such a grind. My vote would be, I would love to go back to the old way of either East, West, or at one point we were in the East and then we played everybody in the West just one time. I miss going out and seeing other venues and seeing other people from different states. We've played people from Utah over the years, from all over. I miss from Iowa. I miss doing that. Maybe I'm saying that too because of the grind of the league. It's just a dogfight. And those games were too in Iowa and Utah and Texas. They were, but it was sometimes I do miss that aspect of it.
Heck, I missed
Well,
the
that,
Jayhawk shootout.
I missed
yeah.
the
Oh,
Jayhawk
yeah.
shootout.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That
That
was
was
fun.
great.
And I loved it because, people like yourself, Dan, could fly in, watch us, catch every game in one big weekend tournament. I miss those days. I really wish our league would go back to that.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening, to be honest,
I don't
but
either.
I'm
Yeah.
low man on totem pole, so I have no vote in that, but I
Oh,
do
come
miss
on.
that.
You're OG. They need to listen to you.
We've got some OGs in the league, though. We've got, Coach Erkenbrack. I was just talking to him. We played at Cloud the other night, and he's been there like basically, I think it's 36,
Yeah.
37
Oh.
years. And I'm just like, man, I don't understand how he does it, but he's the
Yeah,
original OG.
there's some true JUCO dudes in that league now. Think about it,
Yeah.
and that's what makes it so great and so much fun, and the excitement. Um, Tell me about a couple of your players. I know Ashley Singate was a great high school player in many sports and chose basketball. How did you maneuver that deal? How did you get her to get to Butler?
I think she kind of went under the radar a little bit with playing multiple sports, played at a smaller school the first couple of years of her high school, and then family moved and ended up at May South. I think, we got fortunate. Ashley's the real deal.
Yeah,
Great kid, plays her tail off, getting better every single day. Was a great track athlete.
correct.
Could have easily lost her to track. She's an all around stud. Does it the right way. Goes to class. Doesn't just I have nothing but praise to say. We were fortunate. We were fortunate with a lot of these kids. People have asked me over with the new rule, 4 or 5 years ago, where we don't have to have Kansas kids anymore. We can go recruit anybody. But
Right.
we have a number of Kansas kids. Why did I felt like the group that we had are good players. I
Yeah,
didn't,
they are.
you
Yeah, you
know,
had a
we
solid
didn't,
group.
it wasn't intentional to only go recruit Kansas kids. Even though I'm a Kansas guy, I have a lot of pride in my state, and all that. I felt like this group was really good, and Ashley being one of them. We were fortunate enough to be, 35 minutes from her high school. We probably wore her out going to every single game recruiting, but she's a special talent.
Yeah. Kenya, he's got a valuable asset that he hasn't even talked about, okay, on his staff. And you know how it is, loyalty and all that sort of thing goes hand in hand, and things become easy as you move on. But
Yeah.
Abby Fawcett has been there for how long now, Mike?
I think it's 13 years now.
Yeah.
And she played for me for 2 and then moved on and then came back. And then I'm also fortunate. I've got 2 others, but another one is Erica Mattingly, who played for me for a year,
Yep.
went to UMKC, led them to the first ever NCAA tournament. But of course, COVID hit that. She went pro. Tanisha Daniels has been a blessing her first year with us. But going back to Coach Fawcett, she's what makes the program go. The thing about Coach Fawcett that is different from me is she allows me to worry about coaching. She drives the boat or the ship or the car, whatever you want to call it. She's the one that runs the show. I show up and she tells me what to do. I get to go to practice, get to make sure we're game ready. I don't have to deal with anything. She handles it. And it's a dream scenario. It is
Yeah,
to have somebody not only
the
for
organizer
13
of the
years.
madness.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, and now we've worked together for so long that, even on road trips when we go to, to a certain place like Dodge, for example, and we go to the same place to eat, she knows what I want. She don't even talk to me about it. The food's on the table, I just eat. And
Yeah.
so
Wow.
I'm blessed. I'm beyond blessed.
That's
There's
awesome.
something to be said, and I'm sure she feels equally the same way as far as just appreciating, because being someone that got to go and work for my junior cut for Kurt Budke at Oklahoma State. I mean, it's just something special when you get to go and take care of the person that took care of you, right? I mean, that's a big, the impact that you had on her life and the things that you did to help her propel forward and move forward. It's a big deal. And it's special, and it's hard for people that haven't experienced that to understand it. But I can definitely appreciate that relationship and that situation.
Well, and I think, and you'll know this, you guys both will know this as well. There's a different grind with JUCO. And
talk about it all the time.
Right. We're not, we go on these road trips and we have receipts and we have all these things you got to turn in. We're not D1 where you turn it into a secretary.
Right.
We're not. I talk to my D1 friends all the time and they give me a hard time about, we go to Cloud the other day and I'm driving the bus or the van. And, those are to be able to help each other and take care of each other at this level is, Coach Fawcett and Coach Mattingly were 4 hours yesterday going over receipts that had to get done from the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And, again, Deneen Parker, who's the associate head at SMU.
Yeah.
One of my greatest friends. We laugh all the time because, she'll go, we'll meet each other on a recruiting trip somewhere and I tease her, she gets to go turn those receipts in. There's no turn. We're the ones turning it in.
We're turning it into ourselves. Yeah.
So it's to have Coach Fawcett to be able to do it. To be real honest with you, we've changed our stuff, a lot of things at Butler in the last 5 years. I don't even know how to do it. Like if she left, I would be in so much trouble right now. If she would, came to me and said, "Hey, I'm done after this year," I'd have to spend the next 3 months learning how to. I couldn't even do this Zoom meeting today.
Yeah, I saw her helping you out.
Yeah, she had to. She
You
had
extend her contract a few years,
Yeah, exactly. I got to lock her up. That's for sure.
I love it.
So where do we go from here now? Like you have 2 games left, you said, correct?
Correct.
And then what's the dream scenario is then you win the last 2 games, you're going to host at home, correct?
So we have 1 game officially tonight, and then because of being in the top 4 the way our tournament's set up, we will have a home game on Tuesday. And again, I don't want to, not include somebody, but I'm going to guess it's going to be Cali or Seward. And then if we're fortunate enough to get by that game, then we will be in the Final 4, which would be, as of right now, it's supposed to be at Fort Hays. There is some complication with that because Fort Hays women's team has had an awesome year, and there's a chance that some home game based on what the NCAA decides to do with them could come into play, and we may have to change some game times. But we just were told that on an email that we'll know that, like, I want to say March 9th, I think, is when we'll find out exactly. But that's how we're set up now.
Well, the caravan will move on, right?
Yeah, wherever they tell us to go, we'll jump in the vehicles and we'll take off. And I think our kids will play hard and we'll just Dan, you've known our teams for a long time. The one thing that's different about this, usually my teams are very athletic, very fast, We like to get up, down, play really aggressive man to man. This team's similar, but we can shoot it better than any team I've had. And so hopefully we can get hot here from shooting and play great defense and see if we can make a run.
Well, I got a feeling that might happen.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
we sure hope so. I know that.
Yeah.
Mike, it's been great to have you on.
You guys, it was an absolute pleasure. Love watching your show. We catch it up. It's just a joy to be around both of you and get to talk a little basketball.
Absolutely. Well, good luck to you guys.
Thank
We're
you.
rooting
I
for you.
appreciate it.
Mike Helmer, Butler Community College. Thanks for being on, Mike.
Thanks,
Enjoy
guys.
Hot Hoops. Kenya, our closing segment this week on Hot Hoops. I got a mailbag piece the other day. We always talk about the greats of NJCAA basketball over the past, 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a name for you, and I'm wondering who really remembers. I know you do, and I certainly do.
No doubt.
Dominique Seals. Dominique Seals was a 6'3" forward at South Plains College. Went on to play at Texas Tech, was the State Farm WBCA Junior College Player of the Year in 2007. And she moved on to, play at Texas Tech,
Yep.
where she was the newcomer of the year in the Big 12
Yeah.
in 2008. And she averaged 13.8 and 8.4 rebounds, but she was also second team All Big 12 as a rookie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So currently a Dallas resident where she grew up, went to Lincoln High School, correct?
Yep. Won state championships there with Andrew Riley and that crew.
There you go.
Yeah.
She's a police officer now in Dallas.
Yep.
Yeah.
She is one
awesome.
of the most, I remember her because obviously I recruited her. But she was one of the most dynamic post players that I had seen, just had such a motor up and down the floor, blocking shots, rebounding, tipping the ball in. I mean, she was literally a dream. And she went on to do big things and just so impactful. And she's one of the Dallas greats for sure.
Well, I remember her when I went to a JUCO game and watched them play Odessa. And I believe Odessa was number 1 at the time. And they were playing out there. And she went in for a shot and got kind of undercut and landed on her head, right in the back of her head. And she didn't come back out. And consequently, the South Plains, they lost to Odessa.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they would have had her on the floor for the entire game, I may have to say that might have been a different outcome.
No doubt. No doubt.
Dominique was a great JUCO player and carried it on the big stage. So, great to hear that name. I kind of had forgotten about it, So
yeah.
Thanks for whoever that was that sent in their question on Dominique Seals.
Love it.
Ken, you want to close us out for this week?
Yeah. Thanks so much for Coach Helmer, having him on and just being a JUCO guy through and through, played JUCO, coaching JUCO, Kansas guy. He is just doing such a fantastic job. And, as our teams wrap up their regular season, headed into our regional tournaments, some people have already gotten started. Good luck. It is going to be very, very interesting once we come on with the tournament results and the final polls for the season. So we are in the exciting time of the year. And so just good luck to everyone as you guys continue to compete, and we'll be watching.